What's going on? So, go big or go home. The late Kobe Bryant said when he retired, he doesn't want to leave no stone left unturned. Think about that. When you're on your deathbed, you don't want to have any regrets. By the way, hit the subscribe button to get more content just like this coming at you every single day. So, in this video, I'm going to explain to you the single most powerful thing you need to live your life in the best way. And it comes down to thinking about exponential growth versus linear growth. Now, let's break this down. Exponential growth is coming from a 0 to 1,000%, right? Linear growth is coming from 0 to 0.20%. It's only 20% better. So when you put those side by side with each other, right? One is you're getting just 20% better, which is linear growth, which ain't bad, but it ain't great. It's not 10x. That's 2x. You just 2xing. The 10x, though, is thinking about growth from an entirely different mindset, from an entirely different lens. So you coming from 0 to 1,000%. Now you say, man, that's crazy. I don't have the resources to be able to do so. Good point, right? So how do you get the resources to be able to go from 0 to 1,000%? Well, the first thing you need to look at is, what field are you in? What is your passion? Who's at the highest level in that particular field? And then figure out how they got to that level. What did they do to get to that level? Once you figure out what they did to get to that level, you can start to figure out how to acquire those skills to get to that level. Now, some may say, well, that person just has more experience. Fair enough. That doesn't negate the fact that you can study, prepare to be at that level, to understand the skill sets it takes to get at that level. Like, for instance, in real estate, there's a clear difference between going for a single family home versus going for a 50-unit, multi-unit commercial property. Two different mindsets, two different ways of thinking about it. With a single family home, you only need to put down 5% with conventional financing or 3.5% with FHA. With a 50-unit building, depending on the price, you're going to put down 20% of that. 25%. You may say to yourself, how do I get that 20% if I want to do a multi-unit property? Well, that's what you got to figure out. That's the problem. It's a different type of problem. Yeah, when you think about the second part of this, when you think about competition, it's a lot more competition of people putting down 5% down for multi-unit for a single family home than it is people putting down 20% of a $10 million property. Two different levels. So your objective in this case would be to, how do I get in front of people that has millions of dollars that can believe in me, trust in me to put down a 20% for a $10 million, $20 million, $30 million multi-unit property. That's just one example. You know, if you're selling a product and you're trying to get your product in thousands of stores, what is the way to do that versus you getting your product in 2 local stores? What is the mindset that has to go into that? You know, I was looking at a company called Liquid Death, and it's a water company who put just pure water in a can. And one of the ways he got started was he focused on brand identity. And he figured out a way to mix just pure drinking water with death. He made a caricature of water on a can. That's all he did. And because of that, people bought into the brand, which ultimately they bought water. All it was just water, just pure drinking water. So you think about, what did he do to get there? Research his story. You can find out what he did to get there he can start to acquire those skill sets. For him, it was all about marketing and different ways to market. That's one way to get your product into multiple stores across the world. $1 billion company now. And this goes across many different sectors. There are businesses that are small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses. If you have the opportunity to be a large business, would you do it? Would you have the opportunity to be a small business? Would you do it? Medium-sized business? Would you do it? When you think about what's stopping you from each one of these levels, what is that thing? And study that thing and attack that thing and become great at that thing. On that note, we'll talk soon. Take care.